Now, with Russia refusing to budge despite global pressure, Russian troops destroyed a maternity hospital in Zhytomyr. This is a city in northwest Ukraine. Here's a report, a ground report that has been filed by my colleague Shravan Sen.
Right now, that maternity hospitals, civilian areas, all have now come under target. We've got some pictures from various cities. Zhytomyr region, that becomes the other place which is recently, just about a short while ago, where there was a missile attack that took place. In Kharkiv also, we're being told that there's been continuous shelling that's been going on. Some areas which were completely untouched about 48 hours ago, they too have now been targeted. Towards the west, we're being told that there have been more air raid alerts that are taking place, only indicating that there is a move, or rather an advancement that is being made by the Russian troops. One big problem that the Ukrainians still face is some sort of a air defense system to be in place to protect them from the aerial bombing. That remains the one big weak point as far as Ukrainians are concerned. They're putting up numbers. For instance, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry says that over 5,000 Russian troops have been killed in action. Over 30 to 40 aircrafts of Russia have been brought down by the Ukrainian side. They are certainly putting up a stiff resistance. There is a massive pushback also. We have spoken to a lot of locals. In fact, this morning, when Mridul and myself, we were carrying on with our broadcast, that is the time when a lot of locals have come up and said that, look here, we are not engaging in this war. It is Russia who started. We are looking forward to the peace talks to take place, but it totally depends on how Russia responds.
Moldova is on the edge as Russia intensifies its war with Ukraine, which shares a long border with the small nation. The European Union's foreign policy chief traveled to Moldova for talks with the country's leaders on the Ukrainian conflict. Josep Borrell held talks with the President Maia Sandu and Prime Minister Natalia Gavrilita.
A humanitarian airlift organized by the UN Refugee Agency arrived in Moldova to support the Ukrainians fleeing the Russian invasion. The aid comes from the UN HCR's Dubai-based global stockpile and consists of approximately 8,000 thermal blankets for the refugees escaping Ukraine.
Thousands of Spaniards rallied in downtown Barcelona in support of Ukrainian people in the midst of Russian invasion. Amongst the protesters were dozens of Ukrainian nationals and anti-Putin Russians living in the Catalan region.
Meanwhile, soldiers from the U.S. Army's 3rd Infantry Division based at Fort Stewart, Georgia, are deploying to Germany to train with NATO allies and to deter further Russian aggression following its invasion of Ukraine.
Years of experience, this isn't something that's in my wheelhouse, so it's actually kind of exciting to be able to be a part of something historic, not just being able to support our allies in NATO, but also do something that's never been done before, at least by myself.
And as fighting continues in Ukraine, the French military is sending hardware to support its troop deployment in Romania as part of NATO's response force at a French airbase in Itris in southern France, various military vehicles were loaded onto Ukrainian Antonov cargo plane destined for Romania. About 500 French troops have been deployed so far.